Hello, parents or students who are watching this YouTube video here. This is Mr. E. These are the questions, and this is for the quiz for today, 11/14. And this is going to be the questions or the challenges for the Matadors, okay? So they all have to find quotient. So they have to find the quotient of 25 and 5. If you're old school like me, they have to divide 25 by 5. And then once again, the quotient of 5 and 25, the quotient of 7 and 8, the quotient of 3/5 and 2/3, and the quotient of 1/4 and 2. So those are the original challenges. What I'm going to do is show you the answer sheet that I made for that. And if you want to look at it further, you can always freeze in the video. I'll try to put a link also where you can actually download the answer sheet, okay? All right, so let me put this aside. And is all it. Good. So the B answer sheet. So here we go. Get rid of that B answer sheet. So for the first one, you can see the quotient. All right, the quotient of 25. By now, my students know that we do what I call the Tiger Woods. We're going to do a wind up. We're just basically taking the number that's in the denominator spot or below here. Let me stop doing it like that. Below here, and we're going to divide it into the number on top. So notice, 5 and a 25. How many sets of 5 are there in 25? 5. So we go to the other one. This one here is what makes a lot of students very scared, because now what I'm doing is I'm trying to divide 25 into 5, or find out how many sets of 25 are there in 5. And that can make students really nervous. So we have to do, once again, is we have to do the old Tiger Woods and wind up. So divide 25 into 5. We go through that process. I like to move from space to space here, so I have no sets of 25 can get in the 5. So I must introduce a decimal point. That allows me to know that it's not going to be a whole number of 25 getting into this. So we'll go here, put the decimal point. I need also now include a 0 as a placeholder there. And once I do that, I found there are 2 sets of 25 and 50. So my answer there is 2/10. Okay. So we go here for this one. Here it has the quotient of 7 and 8. So once again, this can be one that's kind of makes students nervous because I'm taking a larger number, dividing it into a smaller number. Let me get closer. I'm sorry. Dividing to a smaller number. There we go. So I'm going to divide it into a smaller number. So divide that 8 into 7. So once again, we can't divide 8 into 7, or there's no sets of 8 there in 7. So I'll put a decimal point, and notice I'll be putting a series of zeros there. Why? Because once I find how many sets of how many sets of 8 there are in 67, or in 700, or 70, gosh, I'm going to go ahead and make that 8. That's going to give me 64. I'm going to find the difference of 10 and 4, it's going to be 6. Well, there are no sets of 8 that can go into 6, so that must bring down another 0. We find that we have 50 here, or 60 here, that we're going to go ahead and have 7 sets of 8, which will give us 56. I'm going to find the difference of 10 and 6 is going to give me 4. That's going to allow me to introduce another 0. And once again, I go back to multiplying. I have 5 sets of 8 that make 40. So at that point, it's 875 thousandths is the answer when you find the quotient of that. So let's go over to here, one that's a little different that we may have not seen in a long time. And that one's just dividing a fraction by a fraction. Notice here I was dividing a whole number by a whole number. I was dividing a whole number by a whole number, but notice I got a decimal result and also your decimal. Here is where we're getting fractions we're dividing, and we're getting fraction answers. Now, could we convert this to a decimal? We could, but I want this to be a fraction. So I have 3/5 divided by 2/3. Well, by now our students know that when we're dividing, we're going to do the inverse, or we're going to apply the we're going to go ahead and apply the reciprocal strategy, or as we call it, flipper in class. So notice how I have 2/3 right down here in the denominator, but notice when I divide, I'm going to go ahead and flip that to make that 3/2, introduce multiplication, and I have it right there. So we talked about that process with the students. I don't really have them include the division once I see the division here, but they need to, they can include it. For most students, they just apply the reciprocal strategy, flipping this fraction here, making 3 in the numerator position, in the denominator position, in the Chihuahua, 3 in the numerator position and 2 in the denominator position. Messing up my words here. So then we'll go ahead, we'll multiply 3 times 3, so the product of 3 and 3, 9. The product of the product of 2 and 5, 10. So that answer there is going to be 9 over 10. All right, let's get to the next one. And last but not least, let's take a look at this one here. trying to find the quotient of 1/4 and 2. So notice here the 2 doesn't have anything in the denominator spot. So what we're going to do here is, well, you can't see this, but the students will tell you that when we have something like that, let me erase this here to show you. Anytime I have something like 1/4, I do my very best in that one, divided by 2 in this situation here, you can always put that 1 underneath that denominator position. Why? Because if I find the quotient of 2 and 1, guess what? It turns into 2 again. It's very bad handwriting because I'm going to have to do it this way. I just wanted to get you understanding why I can put 2 over 1 here, even though right here to start out is just a 2. All right. So, or should I go a little higher? I guess I should say right there is the 2, not down there. Right. So we go here. I have my 1/4 that stays the same. We'll apply the reciprocal strategy. And notice it goes from 2 being on top to when you apply the reciprocal strategy by flipping the positions, I have 1 on top and I have 2 at the bottom in the denominator spot. So let's go here. The product of 1 and 1, 1. The product of 4 and 2, 8. Final answer, 1, 8. So watch this video. I'm going to go and try to put a link to the documents because I scanned them so you can actually look them over if you need to, or print them out to go over it. And that's it. Thank you for watching.